Kill me, I'm here! Kill me!
Hi, this is Magic Movies coming at you with my review of the 2016 horror sequel, Blair Witch. I didn't really care for this movie all that much. I remember way back in the day checking out the original Blair Witch Project. I went and saw it in the theater. I saw it, I think the second day it was out, and at that time it was before the 3 stars of the movie had gone on the Tonight Show, and it was before it had been revealed that all of this was complete bogus. And when I went and saw the movie, I was very skeptical, but having that bit of question whether or not it was real really upped my investment in the movie. And then over time I've watched that movie a couple more times, and it's interesting because there's definitely parts of the original Blair Witch Project that are very tedious. Like, they do a lot of the same things really up until the end. It's very repetitive. There's a spot at the beginning, obviously, where they're getting ready to go and walking around in the woods, and the part where they're interviewing the local townsfolk and getting their perspective on the Blair Witch myth or urban legend or what have you. And all that stuff is kind of different. And then they go into the woods, and it's just them walking around and yelling at each other and getting lost and finding vaguely gothic little totems and having rocks outside. Like, it's pretty repetitive. Like, I do understand why people wouldn't like the movie, but I still find myself a fan of it. I love the ending moment, which I won't go into, but the brilliance of it, where they set up basically how the Blair Witch operates, and then when the movie comes, when you see the stuff, when you make those connections, I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was very well shot. I mean, it's a very amateurish movie, but it fits the concept. It fits the way the movie was supposed to have been filmed, where it's these 3 college kids out there with their little camcorders doing this thing, right? So overall, I still, to this day, like the Blair Witch Project. I saw the Blair Witch sequel back in the day. That movie is god awful. And then, so when this movie came out, I was excited to see it. I didn't go out and check it out in the theater because I didn't really feel like this was one that I needed to check out in the theater, but it was one I knew that when it came out, I was going to check it out within a relatively short period of time. And I finally got a chance to watch it, and I didn't enjoy it. For one, I feel like it is way too similar to the original movie. I mean, I know you can look at various horror franchises, and sometimes you can ding a movie for departing from the original too much. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, to me, is a movie that I don't really care for all that much because, one, they changed so many of the rules of how Freddy works, and it just didn't have the same feel and all that kind of stuff. And, when they do that kind of stuff, you can ding them for it, but at the same time, if it's just going to be like a beat for beat kind of almost remake with a few added elements to it, it's not going to be overly riveting. Like, the entire time I was watching the movie, I was like, well, I've been here before, and it was creepier then. Because that's the other thing about this movie is I never felt creeped out. I never had an adrenaline rush at any moment throughout this movie. I never had like a visceral reaction to anything that took place. There was one moment that I was like, ooh, where it involves, kind of, I won't say exactly what the scene is, but if you know that, if you've seen the movie, you're gonna know what I mean. And if you haven't seen the movie and you're gonna check it out, you'll recognize what I'm talking about. That was pretty wild. But for the most part, this movie really, really depends on jump scares. Like, it is jump scare city, and I can go for a good jump scare. Like, there are definitely the scenes where there's a jump scare in a movie that I absolutely love, that I think are awesome. But when it's all jump scares, that's what this movie was. It was pretty much almost entirely jump scares. There was no like psychological horror going on in this movie whatsoever. Like, I was never invested in any of the characters because all of them are so freaking bland. And also, other than the main character, the main 2 characters, which is a guy. Basically, the main character of this movie is a dude who wants to go back into the woods because you find out he's the younger brother of Heather from the original movie, and he thinks she may still be alive. That guy's motivation is clear. And then there's the female lead of this movie is a filmmaker in like school, and she wants to make a documentary about his journey into the woods to try to find his sister. Again, clear motivation. Almost everybody else's motivation is really, really shady to me. There's another guy who I guess is decent. He's like the main dude's best friend, and he's just there to support him. So and then his girl's there. I guess they're not like bad, but really the thing is that in this world, these 3 college students went into the forest and disappeared forever, right? And I don't care how close of friends you are with somebody, you're good. Like, it's gonna be a bit dubious that you're not only gonna be like, yeah, I'll go into the woods with you and help you try to find your sister, who I've seen footage of, and it looks like some really funky stuff went on in her life, and there's a very good possibility she's dead. That's not gonna be an easy decision to make, and I doubt very much if you made that decision, it's probably because you're a caring person, right? You're not gonna be like, yeah, I'll bring my girlfriend along and put her in that danger too. That makes lots of sense, right? And even if she insisted, you might be like, if it was me, like if I made the decision to go in and support my buddy doing that, which I could see myself doing that, so I didn't find his motivation to be too bad, but I wouldn't be like, yeah, I'm gonna take my wife as well. And if my wife was like, I insist on coming with you, I would just either say no, or B, pretend like I was going on one day and go on another and leave a note or something, because I would not put my wife in that kind of danger. I found that to be very, very dubious. But worse than that even is there's this other throwaway couple that kind of comes along for the journey. And don't worry, all of these motivations are set up extremely early in the movie, so this isn't any kind of big spoiler or whatever. But they go along on the journey, and it's because they believe that 100% that the Blair Witch is real. Again, if you believe the Blair Witch is real, you're not gonna go in that goddamn forest, are you? You're gonna be like, I'm gonna stay as far away from that as possible. And you might be trying to convince people to go check it out and that kind of thing. I could see that, but you're not gonna personally go in there. Like, that's ridiculous, right? See, that's the collection of the 6 main characters of this movie. They go into the forest together, and at no point did I invest in any one of them, because they're all, like I said, extremely bland and blasé, and there's no reason to care about any of them. And then it's just a series of jump scares throughout the entire thing, and it just was never scary. And the other major issue I had with this movie is the way it was shot. The original movie, like I said, looks very amateurish, but it should. This movie goes for the same kind of general shots. Like, it's all pretty much first person, but it doesn't have the balls to make it look real. Like, it's similar to the way Cloverfield. I liked Cloverfield, but it feels like the footage does not look whatsoever like it would be shot by any of those cameras, because it clearly isn't. Like, you see cameras throughout this entire movie. Like, there's shots of people, and you can see like a little camera on the side of their face that they have or ear that they have mounted there so they can get these shots. And there's no effing way any of these scenes are shot on any of those cameras. And I don't like that. That'd be kind of okay, but the quality of this footage is so far beyond anything that any of those cameras could shoot on any kind of realistic basis that it takes me out of the reality. And one of the major keys to the success of the first Blair Witch Project is the way it was shot really draws you in. It makes it feel much more real than it would have otherwise. And then on top of that, there's several scenes where there's shots that make no sense. Like, there's nobody there who's getting that shot. Like, I'll tell you right now, I'm not going to reveal much about the scene, but there's a moment where there's 2 characters standing side by side one another, and there's several shots that make sense from the one person's perspective of the other person, and you can see that person so person A is getting a shot of person B, right? Person B is clearly looking straight ahead, but yet there's consistent cuts to shots of person A. Where in the hell did those shots come from? It takes me completely out of the reality of this film. And, you might be able to do that for, like, a throwaway shot here or there and maybe a moment of, like, real tension. But that happens way too much in this movie and really ruins the entire effect, I think. And really made me so I never invested in any of the characters, never invested in the film. always thought that the film it should have been shot in a different manner, and at the end of the day, just didn't really care for this movie. So those are my thoughts on Blair Witch. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of it. Let me know if you loved it, if you thought it was creepy, if you think I'm completely off base. I'd love to hear it all. Hit that like button. It does huge things for my channel. Gets it in front of people that otherwise wouldn't have never found it. And please hit subscribe. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. I love talking to you guys, and I'd love to have the opportunity to continue to. Other than that, have yourself a nice day.